Right, the power file we've all been craving for. Everyone in the world has been wanting to know what went on in Amstel Gold Race on Sunday. How did Mathieu van der Poel win? What power was he doing, etc., etc. So 260k race, 6.5 hours. That's a long day in the saddle for anyone, let alone if you're racing. 337 weighted average power. That's pretty significant. Burnt 4,257 calories, so that's a lot. His total work for the day, so that's based on heart rate, but his total work is 6,000 joules, 6,400 kilojoules, which is a lot of work to get through. Max heart rate 197, max power 1,400 watts, fair. So yeah, it was a tough day out in the saddle for sure. 260k, 3,500 meters of climbing. So if you look at the race generally, it's super hilly. The whole day it's really, just there's no flat at all. So the first couple 100k was probably about 300 normalized. There's accelerations for sure. You can see on each of the climbs, they're sort of climbing relatively hard. Sort of 400 watts ish. If we try and find some of them, the segments here are really bad. They're not sort of very well defined. But yeah, on this one here, 360 watts for 7 minutes for him. That's a little over sort of 5.5 watts per kilo. So nothing crazy at all. And it's just the constant wearing though. I mean, you keep looking at his heart rate. It has these little peaks and little troughs. And you see another 360 watts for 5-6 minutes. I mean, it's all adding up. It's all gonna hurt. And then the pace really starts to increase towards the end. 400 watts almost for 4 minutes. But yeah, so Mathieu van der Poel decided to attack with a long way to go. He had decided to attack on, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, the Keutenberg, I believe it was called. And he did a big attack, and that was when he averaged his best 10-minute power. So you can see his sort of 9-minute 20 power, 447 watts, which is when he attacked. So he hit 1,300 watts, attacked 60 k's an hour, and then just kept going up this climb. And so yeah, that was when he attacked. It was 40k out. It wasn't the Keutenberg. It was slightly earlier. And yeah, 447 watts for 9 minutes is very, very solid power, just generally, let alone in a race. I'd say his 20-minute power is probably more like 460, I'd say, 450, around that would be my prediction. In terms of the watts per kilo for that, again, 6, I reckon he weighs a little less than this, in my opinion. But still, it's not mega watts per kilo, but I'd say he does weigh a little less than that. But still, it's pretty impressive to do 6 watts per kilo for 9 minutes and then sort of 200k into a race. But what's really interesting is more what happens in the last sort of hour of the race. So again, for an hour he averaged 340 watts. So that's just plain average. Normalized would be closer to 370. And we can look at sort of the heart rate, which is always useful just to look where the heart rate efforts are. You can see again 430 watts. So of the Keutenberg, he was really going for it, 430 watts. And on these 4% climbs, it's really more about watts than watts per kilo to a certain degree. And again, on one of these climbs, which I believe was the Gulenwemmerberg, 430 watts. Of the Bemmelerberg, he was going hard. But the bit where he was really impressive was this last part here, where it was basically him just going full to the run-in. And you'll be able to see the power he did. He did 425 watts for 11 minutes 40, which is quite frankly ridiculous. At the end of a race, doing 430 watts with huge surges and hitting a peak of 1,400 watts in the sprint that is where it was unbelievable. It really was like he's a train. He was sort of going, so along the flat, he's sort of going 50-60 k's an hour, and then you can see this is the sprint when he opens it up. But the time he took back, if we look at Kwiatkowski, so bear in mind for the last 11 minutes 30, he averaged 430 watts and did 43 kilometers an hour. We now have Kwiatkowski doesn't post power because he's from Strava, he's from Sky, sorry, not Strava, and he's therefore not allowed to post. But we'll go back to this just a little bit. Keep going a bit more. There we go. About 13 minutes, or we can do. So for the last 12 minutes, he averaged 39 kilometers an hour. So potentially, I did make a video earlier saying that the time gaps weren't correct, but maybe it was. So this is the estimated power, but what you can see is that Van der Poel was absolutely flying, 43 kilometers an hour, and he was just drilling it, just really, really going for it. This last climb here, so 450 watts for 3 minutes, really just, this is the bit, when they turned onto that corner, and they had that shot of Van der Poel, like a train just flying past, that was where it was. They then turned onto the long straight, so we can see this long straight part here was basically when they turned on. Now, he just started this sprint really early, so you'll see around this corner, he sort of surges, soft pedals a bit, and then he's like, sees them, and I think maybe he gives, no, he's still in the front this whole time. I'm not really sure why he started soft pedaling here, but maybe someone did come around. And then it's that last bit. So for the last 2 minutes of the race, he held almost 500 watts, which, to be honest, I can hold 490 watts fresh on a good day, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty decent. To hold 490 watts at the end of a 260 kilometer race after just holding like 400 watts for 10 minutes and another 400 watts for 10 minutes, the level that they have is just quite frankly ridiculous. Like, most people can't do 490 watts for 2 minutes, like, ever, but like the way they can just do it at the end of a race is quite frankly unbelievable. And then the sprint is just different level. 788 watts for 48 seconds, average speed 59 kilometers an hour, and he just sort of rode consistently at 700 watts here, and then opened up a sprint and hit 1400 watts. Like, so before his sprint even started, he averaged 660 watts for 25 seconds, and that's after his big, 450 watt turn that he did before. And then he does, 1,000 watts, 1,100 watts for 17 seconds, and peak of 1,400 watts. And like, that is, again, just nuts. So basically, what you can gather from this power file is that Mathieu van der Poel is unbelievably strong. I mean, that's almost 360 normalized, I'd say. 350, 360 normalized for 6.5 hours. And at the end of that, you need 1,400 watts. It's just mind-boggling. So yeah, that is how strong this guy is. He is a different level to anyone else. And it doesn't really, it's hard to show, like, without just saying the same things over and over again, how amazed I am by this. But like, it's probably one of the best power files I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is crazy power. 12 minutes, 430 watts. It's like, at the end of a race, surges and all that stuff. It's nuts. And to top it off, the sprint as well, it really was a different race. So yeah, Mathieu van der Poel for sure. He's going to be one to watch out for in almost any race. Maybe he probably can't win the Tour, I'd say, just because it's a bit hilly. Any other race, I mean, you'd probably have him, wouldn't you? I mean, Lombardy, probably get round. Liège, get round. San Remo, definitely. San Remo literally suits him so well. Same with the cobbles. I mean, Flanders, we already saw, he's unbelievable. But Roubaix, let's be honest, he'll be there as well because he's good on the cobbles. Due to his cyclocross background, I mean, sprint stages, he'll be up there, won't he? I mean, it's not to be sniffed at his power. At the end of a race, I mean, 1,400 watts. I mean, like, Cap says he does 1,600 watts in the sprint. So I mean, like, that's just a normal sprint stage. So he could be up there in a bunch of sprints as well. As we saw, as he won the Dutch National Championship title, TTs. I mean, he'll be there or thereabouts. I mean, I feel like he is sort of a very similar rider to Sagan, the fact that he can do anything. But I'd say he's more varied than Sagan because he's a lot lighter than Sagan. He's closer to 70 kilos than Sagan's up. That says he's more like 80 kilos. So Sagan can climb well, but Van der Poel can climb even better because Sagan was well spat by the time he was spat like 180k to go or something. But anyway, cheers for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. I'll link the power file below, but take a look at it because it is nuts. Anyway, cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.